everybody, I'm Catherine with Colorado Yard Care, and today I wanted to show you two different types of pruning cuts that you can use when you're pruning your shrubs. The two different types of pruning cuts are thinning cuts and heading cuts. So let's get started. So when you're pruning a shrub, you always want to make a cut at the place where two different branches come together. That's called a crotch. So if I cut off the thinner branch right here, that's called a thinning cut. On the other hand, if I cut off the thicker branch right here, that's called a heading cut. Now keep in mind that thinning cuts are the types of cuts you want to make on your branches. Just like that. And the reason for this is that when you make that cut, there's tissue here that'll seal that over so that when you make that cut, what you see is what you get. What I mean by that is that if you cut this branch off in 6 months, it's going to look the same. On the other hand, if you make a heading cut right here, what happens is that a lot of the buds underneath that cut are going to start growing and produce a lot of branches. You see there's a little swelling right here? Go ahead and make that cut to leave that swelling. So you end up with a little bit of a nub there. You don't want to make it totally flush against the stem because then it has trouble healing. So when you're doing your pruning, keep in mind you want to use mostly thinning cuts. And you can use the thinning cuts to your advantage in two different ways. If you do a lot of thinning cuts on the exterior of a shrub, then you can actually use that to make the shrub more narrow. So for example, that might be helpful if you have a shrub that's encroaching on a pathway and you need to make it more narrow to give yourself space to get through. Or if you need to create definition between plants and you need to make them more narrow in order to do so. On the other hand, you can use thinning cuts on the interior part of a shrub to create better air circulation on the inside of the plant, or to create transparency so you can kind of see through the shrub as well. Now you might be asking yourself, well, don't I need to be using heading cuts in order to be making my shrub shorter? Well, the answer to that is that you can't really consistently make a shrub shorter through heading cuts. You might be able to reduce the size of the plant by about 25%. So instead, the best solution is to just simply remove that shrub and replace it with something that has a more appropriate size for the space. So when you're getting out there this spring and doing some pruning, just remember, use thinning cuts and try to minimize the use of heading cuts. This has been Catherine with Colorado Yard Care. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you again next time.